Piers mentioned the idea of reducing friction. Now, this can often arise with the introduction of digital channels, streamlining the customer experience to be as straightforward as possible. Though when it comes to insurance, does face-to-face still have a place?
The digital channel is, let's be clear, is absolutely critical, particularly as customers want to engage with you and get on with tasks in a time that when they want to, how they want to, and where there's tasks that effectively it's easier to get on and do that digitally. That's really important. Particularly with customers and insurance, it's that time of need. And that's where you need to have that personal touch. So let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, you want to make a claim and you've got a simple windscreen claim. That's quite straightforward. It's not really emotive. You just want to get it done simply. You just want to be able to process that quickly, and digital's good for that. But let's say you've had a car accident, or someone's burgled your home, or you've had a fire. Then actually, obviously, it's a much more of an emotional event, an event that makes you more vulnerable. And that's really the point at which speaking to a human is going to be really important. And that's where staff can really help and put themselves in their customers' shoes, guide them through a process, hand-holding, all of those things that are critical and the customers expects. But, once that customer's been through that process and actually they're back on their feet, then you can go back to self-serve. So it really is about responding to that customer in the time of need and using those particular channels. And, NFU Mutual is we've got the benefit of having a network of nearly 300 agents around the country that are close to our customers. They're in those local communities. They understand actually the context that the customers are in. They understand what's happening locally. So that real local and personal touch is really important. And therefore, from a face-to-face perspective, having that dialogue with the agent really helps that relationship. And, it's very powerful.
When it comes to choosing a service for the customer, because nowadays there's all these comparison sites where through them you can choose a service provider, insurance provider. How do you think personalization when it comes face to face at that touch point at the beginning?
Well, it's a good question. Again, coming back to that trust point and how you trust what you're buying, being able to choose a product or service, and particularly insurance on a price comparison site, it can be made quite simple and you can see all the prices. But clearly, do you understand actually, are you covered for what you're really expecting to be covered for? And there's always that, from my previous research, there's always that level of doubt potentially that I think I've bought the right thing, but am I covered? So that point, I think it's important if it goes straight through, but particularly with where the product is more complex, or maybe you've got a more unique need, like you've got a house with a thatched roof, for example, having that conversation with someone just really helps you get over that trust barrier. And the other point that I think is really interesting, and what I found over the last few years, is that trust issue. It's not just about trust in the provider, but it's trust in yourself as well as a customer. It's actually, do I actually trust that I understand what I'm buying? And therefore, if an organization can help a customer, put them in a position where they're more confident about what they're purchasing, then that's really does help that. And again, digital has a role, but also that personal touch through that telephone or face-to-face really makes sure that the customer is confident about what they're doing.
What elements do you think make up or can create that trusted relationship? Well,
I think, and when I talk about trust and think about trust, I go back to probably what is quite a cheesy example, but I'm not going to apologize for that. It's that classic 1980s team building exercise where you're standing on a table or something and you need to fall back into some, a group of people's hands. And you think, well, let's think about that. You've got to trust that if you're going to do it, you've got to trust what's going to happen. So at that first level, it's thinking, well, actually, are those people able, strong enough, dependable, reliable that they're going to catch me if I fall? And those elements, those points around dependable, being reliable, transparent, can I see that they're there, are the sort of foundations of trust. And we know that actually that's half of the battle. If you can get that sense of being, your customer knows that you're dependable, reliable, etc., that's really important. And then the second piece is, well, actually, do I think they're going to want to catch me when I fall? Actually, do they care about me? Do they care about what I'm interested in? Do they care about what I'm about to do? And that again is that second layer in terms of, that they're going to be there for me. They care for me. They care for what I want to achieve. And that relationship piece is really important. And then really the final piece is that whole context. Do I believe that they're buying into this whole thing of trust? Are they there to realize that actually this whole thing is around trust, and therefore, the brand, again, it comes down to brand purpose. What's that brand doing? Do I believe in that purpose? Do I believe that actually their interests are similar to mine? Those things are really important.
It's very important for that trust to be established with the customer. At your front line, the people that speak to the customer, they need to have that reassuring kind of, let's say, relationship with the customer. How do you, let's say, convince or make someone be that trusted person for the customer?
It really is about tuning into, again, what that customer's going through at that point of need. Again, it's, giving that claim example. If actually someone's on the phone and they just want to get something done and it's efficient, then it's about, adapting what you're doing. What you don't want are frontline teams that are just going through the same script and exactly the same process, no matter what customer's going on. Imagine if you just want to get something done, but you have to go through the same process. Obviously, there are legal things you have to go through, but it's about adapting how you're engaging with that customer and therefore being more flexible. And that's what you need to train staff to do. So training to listen and show empathy and caring and understanding, those things are critically important to make sure that, again, that the customer then feels that they're listened to. And there's many techniques that are known around and how you can train staff to do that.